Ah,
I'm
but it
surprised you guys
continues.
heard me.
Yeah, isn't that funny? We sometimes we find our mic like on the floor, and we're like, "Oh wow, that was weird." So here we
There
go,
we are.
just setting it up.
Oh,
Ah,
I'm
but it
surprised you
continues.
guys I gotta click.
There
Oh,
we are.
there
There
we
we
are.
Over there you go.
There we go.
We are.
On the
Oopsie.
positive side of news, this week,
Yeah,
uh, SEPTA avoided a strike
Oh
that's
yeah, I saw
true.
that.
That's true.
Oh, and
again.
Shapiro found a couple of bucks rolling around in Harrisburg there, didn't he?
Whatever.
153 million.
Oh, I did not know that. I missed that
Right.
one.
Yeah, he drew it from some other fund, which has been done before. 153 million one-time cash infusion.
For what's he sending that for?
Well, so they won't have to hike the rates. They're suggesting like a 30% rate hike, 20% cut in services.
Oh,
Uh,
Jesus. Oh,
so
wait, they did
that's
raise the rates. They did raise the rates. I just saw that I got an email about that last
yeah.
night.
Well, I think it wasn't going to be as draconian because of this 153 mil
Okay.
that he found. That I mean, I have yet to find anybody who's analyzed it, but you're right. There was still a bump.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I remember getting I don't really care too much about it because I get it monthly.
yeah.
So, it's not gonna hurt me that much,
Right. Right.
but like I know a lot of people who you just either use cash or, get like weeklies or whatever,
Yeah.
or something like that. I know like the trips out to like Jersey or whatever are going up to like $10 or something,
Wow.
which is still pretty fucking cheap.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
weren't they going to bump? Was the bump through their key card or wherever the hell that electronic thing is they use? I thought I saw that it was bumping there, like they were really dinging people who were using the electronic thing as opposed to just paying cash. Or
I don't remember off the top
yeah,
of my head,
huh.
because I only skimmed it because I got it while I was working.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. That's kind of what I saw too. It kind of bumped across my feed that people were like, "What is this? They're messing with our key card." Is where a lot of the rate was climbing. But I think you're right. They still announced it as of December 1st, but it's not as bad, I think, as what it would have been if they didn't get that.
to be fair though, they're probably doing it because that's where they're sending all the homeless folks apparently.
Hmm.
Because they don't have enough shelter beds in
Oh,
Philly, so they're sending them all to Jersey.
oh God.
Oh, that's worse than jail.
It is worse than jail. What kind of cruelty?
I know, right? Like sick minutes. Oh,
What was that? That
the
was
cat.
weird.
Maybe they'll at
I didn't
least
like
have
the
like
Jersey
some
joke,
good like Spange game over there, if they get to Atlantic City or something.
right? Greg didn't like that joke.
Did not. That was weird. Do fuck with that. Yeah, so anyway, that is a good bit of news.
That is.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I also heard, and this just came across my feed when I was using AI to look up the news at the last second. Apparently, there's some sort of thing that the school system's going to do where they're going to try to make sure that every single kid has a gift this year.
Oh,
Hmm.
that's nice.
I think it's called Operation Snowball, which is
Oh,
kind of dumb. But
think about
but
and
that's super cool though. That's super cool,
Nice.
Snowball and Animal Farm.
Snowball was an Animal Farm,
Yeah, it was
yes.
one of the pigs in Animal Farm, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Creepy.
Yeah.
All right, now I like this name
Is
less.
that the one that led the insurrection or
That
was
was
part of the
Napoleon.
insurrection?
What was
Napoleon
that?
led
The
it.
horse, or was that the horse? I don't remember. Which was the horse?
Old Major was the
That was
horse.
it. This Napoleon was the mean one, right? The
Yes,
mean
right, the
pig.
pig.
Snowball.
Yes. And Snowball is one who's driven off, right?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I don't remember. It's when I read Animal Farm, it was like I was like 17.
Right.
I don't even remember
Cartoon.
most of
I think he
17.
was probably Trotsky. Snowball was probably Trotsky, and Napoleon was Stalin.
Oh.
I
I
Ah.
don't remember.
I don't know.
anyway.
Anyways,
Anywho.
so
Hmm.
Nazis in Ohio, Nazis also in Montreal in the Pietro Pelli thing.
Yep.
Apparently, they were shouting about the final solution.
Yep.
It's always good when,
The
left
language
and the
comes
right.
back, right?
It is. It's like a
Heartwarming,
big
right? We had the
spurt,
enemy of the state. Now
you
we have
know,
this. Yeah.
when
Familiar.
the anti-fascist use
Right.
the Nazis language.
It's wild, right?
It is indeed.
It is.
Yeah, it's like when Trump was calling what's her name, communist and fascist.
Yes, those are great.
Those two don't really travel together.
They don't, but apparently they are now.
I guess if you go far enough left, you bounce
Come
back right
circle
again.
back.
But there is like a theory about that. I think it's called like the horseshoe theory,
Ooh.
if I recall correctly.
Huh.
And basically it says like if you go far enough in either extreme, you end up on the other side or close to the other side.
Yeah. Well, eventually everything leads to totalitarianism, right? Whether you're paranoid
Totalitarianism.
or whether you're
Totalitarian.
doing it right.
Yeah.
Totalitarian. It leads to that.
Totalitarian.
That's it.
Totalitarian.
Right. Totalitarianism. Yeah, total. We are total flakes here. That's what we do. We love breakfast.
Everything leads to totalitarianism,
Totalitarian.
which is the rule by Four Seasons Total Landscape.
It is. But it is. It all leads to that. Anyway, well, it leads to like people being forced to work by a handful of people.
Yes.
And whether they do it ideologically for one reason or another, it's the same. For us on the bottom, it's the same bullshit.
Mm.
In my
Speak for yourself,
humble-
I am slightly above the bottom, thank you.
Okay.
Just slightly.
Enjoy. Okay, well, yeah, I'm not. I'm down here. I'm in the muck. I'm in the muck.
Yes.
I'm at least, doggy paddling here.
Okay.
Trying to anyways.
Well, that's what they want everybody to think. So I don't know.
Okay.
It's like that movie, whatever you see the people or whatever it was, They Live, I guess, was that it?
I don't know what that one
The
is.
monster, you put the glasses on and you see.
Oh, that was right. Yeah.
That
right.
was a great movie. That is
Right?
one of the most
Really cool.
underrated
It
movies
is underrated. I
of
agree.
all time.
Not of all time.
John Carpenter, right? It was John Carpenter.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
yes,
awesome.
But it's a
good one.
message. There's a message. It's
Roddy Piper-
scary.
Who knew Roddy Piper had some acting?
Right?
I know.
Right?
Where is he? I miss him.
Is he even alive?
I don't even know.
Find
Yeah.
out.
I don't think he is actually.
What was he? Roddy Piper?
Roddy
Ronnie Rowdy.
Roddy or Roddy?
Roddy.
Yeah.
But he was Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that off because I think Rowdy sounds like it. I don't think his parents called him that. Oh, he is better known as Rowdy, but he was a Canadian professional wrestler and actor.
Died in 2015.
Yes, he did. What did he
Oh,
say?
that's sad.
It
that
is at
is.
61 years old. That's young.
It's not
You actually
old at
look
all.
quite healthy.
Yeah.
What happened? Come on, Rowdy. What happened to you?
2015, so it wasn't COVID.
No. Come on. God, this is the longest. It's like he's got the longest Wikipedia. Acting, voice acting. He was in nothing.
Robot
Okay.
Chicken.
Robot Chicken. Well, I love Robot Chicken.
Yeah,
but-
Robot Chicken is awesome.
Yeah,
really
definitely.
awesome.
Death.
Yeah.
Okay, he appeared as a guest on the Rich Eisen show. He had trouble collecting his thoughts and staying focused. This was in July 2015. A week later, he died in his sleep. A death certificate cites cardiopulmonary arrest caused by hypertension. So it was some kind of a
Yeah, who'd have
attack
figured
caused by
that?
embolism. So he just died in his sleep, but he seemed to have had some sort of a little stroke or something.
Well, at least he went
A couple days
peacefully.
before. Yeah.
Is his last name Toombs? Tombs? Is that what it is?
That would be
Yeah,
ironic.
it's his tomb.
Huh.
Yeah.
Toombs.
Tombs.
And it was Roddy Toombs?
Yes. Roderick.
Roderick
C.
Toombs.
Toombs. And
No
Kitty.
wonder he changed his name.
Right?
Roderick.
Oh, Roderick.
Roderick. It's a very good Canadian name. I don't know why. It sounds British or something.
That's a good name for a cat.
It is Roderick George Toombs.
But you know what? You know what always surprises me?
What?
And every time I meet a new one, I feel the same way. A lot of those old wrestlers are like the smartest fucking people.
Hmm.
Like, and you would have never thought it,
Mhm.
like back when we were a kid.
Mhm.
Like, remember Jake the Snake?
Oh yeah.
You know, he was like a fucking idiot, right?
Mhm.
But dude is a fucking genius. Like, he has multiple degrees, including in engineering, has written numerous like technical books.
Wow.
Like, dude was like crazy fucking smart.
That's
Damn.
interesting.
Like, and he is not the only one that I've met that
Mhm.
was like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, it's crazy how smart some of them were.
That's interesting. Well, they must have been because they really had to market themselves. There was a lot of people, doing fake wrestling back then and took
Mhm.
a special kind of character or person to be able to, create a niche, create a character that everybody could identify with to get where you needed to go. So, I mean, I credit, yeah, totally. Any trailblazer, I think, has to have some chops, right?
In a bit of irony, fucking what's her name? The owner of that company's wife.
McMahon.
Yeah. She's gonna be education secretary now, apparently.
Wow.
I don't
Oh,
know.
that'll be
Like,
good.
you can't make some of these things up.
No, you can.
Yeah.
You make them up if you're trying to put people in place where they are going to destroy the different organizations that they are put in place of. You can make that up. And in fact, I suspect, I posit that somebody has actually thought about this and been like, who are the worst people to put? Hell, the guy with the brain worms. Okay, some idiot from Fox News will put him here. Like literally, it's Russia either trolling us or
I
ourselves.
think Trump is trolling us.
He could be. He could just want to put the losers in so that you have people to fire when everything goes to hell and blame. So I mean, it's all just part of the mess that we are a part of. So that's why I'm not really I don't care. Like, again, bring it. Bring it. Let's you want to do this? Let's do it. I want to get the fuck out of here, no lie. This is awful. I don't want
So
any
when are you
part of
guys
it.
planning on fleeing to
I don't care. I'll flee
Argentina?
anywhere. I'll figure this. I'll chew my own leg off to get out of this mess. I don't know what the hell I need to do. I'll figure it out. But right now, I'm just sort of laying low, seeing where things go. I'm hoping. I'm
If you
throwing. I'm
guys
rolling
are
dice.
fleeing south, I have
I don't know
friends
where
in
I'm going.
Buenos Aires
Ooh.
that you
Okay,
could probably stay with.
well, that's amazing.
They're
Right
really
on.
cool
Cool.
peeps.
Cool.
I have
Appreciate it.
friends in Sweden
Oh,
you can
super.
go stay
Awesome.
with. They're
Well, just
pretty cool peeps.
information. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. I totally appreciate it, and I'll cover it. And I'm not kidding.
I
Like,
don't have any friends in Canada.
that's okay. I don't like Canada.
I don't like
Yeah.
their like weird yappy heads.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Canada's
yeah.
tough. Canada's tough, and everyone wants to go to Canada. So I'm kind of willing to. We're actually trying to be thoughtful about it in the way that, like, we're still able to work. So I want to make sure we can be somewhere where we can continue to do some stuff, whatever it is. Like, as long as we're going to get decent pay, but also if they need us. Like the Netherlands actually needs workers. They're aging out very quickly, so they need anybody kind of to
We're
fill.
actually
So
going to be
that's not
facing
bad.
the exact same thing here in the US very
Yeah,
soon.
sure, especially with the immigrants getting kicked out.
Yeah.
Well,
But then they're
apparently,
just
like,
going to raise Social Security, so we're all going to have to work anyway. So I think that's,
yeah,
we're going
like
to,
it's actually like the bottom end of our generation
Mhm.
that's starting to age out.
Mhm.
So I don't know how the fuck that happened, but
Stupid time.
where the what the
Where the
fuck?
heck what the fuck was I doing?
I'm not even that old.
People keep
Yeah.
coming up. They just keep popping up. You keep moving you up the thing. It's the conveyor belt. It's fucking
I'm
stop.
not even that fucking old yet.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. And they're going to be throwing
My
people.
body insists otherwise, but
Yeah, I know. How about it?
Yeah, and there'll be work camps, so that'll be the other
That'll
thing.
be good.
They'll make up for the
Event.
immigrants that get thrown out, but we'll have work camps.
That'll be awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. It'd be like,
those
we
things
work at
never work
Amazon or we
out
want
for
to
us.
produce. No, it'd be
Those things
terrible.
don't work out for us.
No, it'd be terrible. It doesn't work out for anybody, really. But you guys go first.
Yeah, I'm not cool with that.
No, it's gonna be awful.
Yeah.
But again, what else are you gonna do? Like, you gonna fight it? That doesn't.
But at the same time, you have to.
I don't think so. Actually, I don't think
You
so at
do.
all.
Like you really, really do.
I think both to fight it, you make other networks outside, and you lay the groundwork for people for underground shit to get people out and get supplies out and get information out and make a network, and that's how you help. You're not going to be able to individually fight this. You're going to need to build networks, and you're going to have to be
You
underground
no,
fucking
you
network.
you keep trying to make it an individual thing, but it's not an individual thing. It's a
Okay.
community thing.
Okay.
You know,
Well,
when it,
well, how you
you know,
gonna fight it?
last,
How you gonna
la-
fight it? You tell me
That's
how.
what network is about.
Yeah, how you
yeah,
fight it?
that's what.
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about something different?
No, yeah, well, I was just saying, how do you fight it?
No, well, you were saying network and you were saying
Yeah,
community. So to me, it's
yeah.
the same thing. You need to build.
I interpreted fighting as in publicly, like going to the streets and fighting like we did with George Floyd. I don't think that's going to be it.
I
Unless there's
I
like
think it
hundreds of
is.
thousands of us like going down to Washington and going like, don't put a fascist in. But we'd need like everybody, and the country's not, it's too big.
Well, that's. I think that's where you're wrong. I think that critical mass is possible. It's certainly done in a lot of other places other than here.
Smaller places. We're too spread out. They'll military will turn on people. It'll be terrible.
I
Russia has
don't agree
defended
with
it.
that.
Okay. It's agree to disagree because I feel like it's dangerous to fight in an administration. When they have the administration has as much as they have, it's dangerous to fight. Ordinarily, I'm like, you
There
have to
may
go
be
down to make people see you, right? And then they can fight, kind of like the silent protest, right? Like you just go the nonviolent protest. I'm a big believer in going into it and letting them hit you so that people see that, and then the people push back. But I think at the early stages of where we are, I think this is where people disappear. This is where people are made examples of. This is where there's going to be crackdowns. This is where, the first wave is just going to go. And I think you're not going to help anybody by sacrificing yourself. That's what I think. No?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you help in it? What would you say the smart thing is for an authoritarian takeover?
I mean there are several things that all kind of need to happen at the same time and at varying levels. Some of that is, on the ground, like where like communities help each other out, like those sort of networks.
Mhm.
Another aspect of that is peaceful demonstration, you know.
Ooh,
Um,
ooh, that hurts.
and it may, and it
Mhm.
may. If you remember the WTO protests in the 1990s, it was the 90s. The thing that made that so big
Yeah.
was that people were seeing
Oh, I know. Yeah.
people get beat on the streets.
hmm
And
Yeah,
that brought in more people.
that's
And
what I'm
it
saying.
did reach critical mass.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but it could in that environment. This is a different environment. My
Not
argument. My
really.
argument is it is. My
Yeah.
argument is they're going to be able to control the information that gets out there. So
If
there's going to be a
Iran
lot of
can't do
protest.
that, if Iran can't do that, if
Russia can enough. It works in
Russia
Russia.
Russia is still failing in that regard.
Failing, but it's been decades, and people still get disappeared, and people still just.
You're right, but still,
That's what I'm saying.
it's a long process.
Yeah,
Nobody says it's
yeah,
fucking
it's
gonna
not
be
gonna be perfect. I'm not saying
easy.
it's perfect. My point is just that I think I'm not optimistic. I found that quote by that Chilean person that I was looking for last time. But I don't have a lot of it's everyone's personal decision, right? And how you can best help. And I think
You're right, it is.
right, and I think that you got to weigh what you got to weigh, and look at the situation, and realize this is not like the 90s. This is not like George Floyd even. This is entirely different. This is a government that is more than willing, that is literally chomping at the bit to turn their military on us. So I don't
The thing is that the military isn't chomping at the bit. And
ne-
I'm speaking on for the behalf of people at the ground level and the unit level that are not going to do that because they take their oath to the Constitution 100%
Mm.
deadly serious.
You know, I've heard that about Supreme Court justices about 10 years ago.
The difference is that Supreme
Right.
Court justice is corruptible because they were already corrupt.
People are corruptible at any level, man. And you know, they've said they want to explore having like special generals that are friendly to them to
It doesn't matter.
be
Like if the
generals.
men on the ground aren't
I
going to
don't buy
follow
it.
your orders because they're illegal,
You don't need, all you need is like a third of the people that are on the ground that will. And I think a third of the people on the ground won't take their vows, that their oath, that seriously. Yes, I agree that there will be some soldiers and military people that are like, that is a line I will not cross. But I do not believe, I still think they will have more than enough who will be willing to do this to affect the damage that they are looking to affect. I really do. I don't mean to be totally pessimistic, but someone has to be, right? Like someone, like that's my job, I guess. And that's where I'm at still. Yeah, I'm not feeling good about this.
I disagree.
I'm glad. I'm really glad you disagree. What do you chime in, Steve?
I'm just looking up how to fight authoritarianism.
Well, I have
Just
that
looking
up.
up some sources.
Well, I already have that if you're interested, but
Yeah.
it doesn't help.
Basically, engage in democracy locally, state and local stuff, build the alliances there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really the reality of where that is going to take place, and it's going to require a lot of healing from the last year or two, where many of those alliances were shattered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Because people let their hate swing low.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's a shame. It's a crying shame, man. It's just a mess. And speaking
But
of
it's not
network,
impossible either. It's not impossible either. Like one of the things that I've learned as a Jew is that people can be educated and informed even after they've said or done something pretty horrible. Look at, some of the stuff that Whoopi Goldberg has said in the past. And then she went and she got herself educated, and she still says some dumb things, but I don't expect her to be the smartest, you know, I mean, she's a comedian. Like, they'd be like expecting me to be the smartest person in the room.
right.
Oh, wait, never mind. No, but seriously, I mean, like, people can be educated, and that's a key to healing some of those wounds. Some of them, no, you have to cut those people like out of it because they're irredeemable. If you're talking about the final solution,
Right.
or throwing up a Nazi salute, like, you're irredeemable, and like, I hope your great grandparent or grandkids like
Oh,
really, yeah,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
deserve that one. But I think a lot of the things are repairable. Certainly, the Black and Jewish alliances are repairable.
Mm-hmm.
The younger generation needs to be, informed about, that connection and the solidarity that's always been there and why it's always been there, because they've been deluded into thinking that Jews are somehow elites, and white somehow. But yeah, it is definitely doable. It's going to be some hard work, and part of it is on you guys. Part of it.
No, it's not on
Part
me.
of
I'm
it.
fucking out of here. I'm done.
Part of
No
it
more.
is,
Nope.
at the neighborhood level, with folks like me who live in, poor, disaffected neighborhoods. Um, part of it's with our kids, you know.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on really. I don't.
What I do know is, girl, you got to get out this funk.
I know. Nope. Nope.
You are messing with my vibe.
It's awful. It's awful.
Is that what the kids say? Is that it?
Messing with my vibe. You're bringing me down. I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't understand how dumping millions of dollars into, say, Chile's election, which the United States acknowledges that we did, and we acknowledge that that was interference with their elections. Yet we get foreign powers dumping billions of dollars into ours this one round, and yet that's
It's what's good for
allowed
the
to
goose
be,
isn't good for the gander.
but it's allowed to be. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, we actually apologize. Like, we actually acknowledge that as a problem, that we shouldn't have done that to Chile. But yet here we
But
are
we've been
bending over and
doing it for
saying,
decades.
I'm just
We've been
saying,
doing
that's
it
all
for
I'm saying.
decades.
Well, I'm just
The
saying, like, yes, but
entire reason we
yes,
have such a huge immigration problem
yes, I know
US
that.
is due to US foreign policy in
Yes.
the international
Yes,
south.
I understand this, but the idea that you usually the people that are it's like the abuser's getting abused. Usually the abuser knows what's doing, so they don't allow it to happen to them. Maybe they get abused in a different way, but I'm just saying, people, you keep hitting people there, then you would pad that. But yet don't protect ourselves from shit that we know affects, we know is election interference. We know it.
Well, here's the thing.
See
It's
that we
because
do
they're
it, and
using
we do it
emerging
ourselves. And when it
technology.
happens to us, we have no repercussions. We just let it happen, which is just so unbelievably wrong and just fucked up to me, that I'm done with, like why even be in this country if we have no rules that protect us? It doesn't make any sense.
I understand that perspective. I also understand that where the fuck are you gonna actually go? Like, seriously. Like, you don't think it's any, but you don't think it's just as bad
It's
anywhere
different bad.
else?
Nothing is perfect, but and again, up until, like, I even put up with the last Trump presidency because I saw there were guardrails and there was some semblance of a rule of law. I'm just saying that things have changed, so it's different now. There is no rule of law now. Maybe there never was, but it's like, it's still worse. It's like that kid, like my mom used to say when we were kids, like you can't, I realize you're a teenager, I can't control everything you do. So I assume you're probably drinking, whatever. But the thing is, if I see you drinking, then I know you have a problem because you can't control it. So if you should be able to control your sneakiness and you can't do that, so clearly you have a problem. So I'm going to come down with force. You know what I mean? Like, it's that.
I see this as and I don't mean this like in an offensive way,
No.
but like, you're a white woman who is finally realizing what, like, all of the rest of us have known because we've experienced it.
Women have had that.
I was gonna say,
I mean, no,
a woman say that. Like, I can't walk down the street.
I hate to tell you this, but white women are often right up there with white men, with the level of.
But in my experience,
And I don't mean, and I'm not saying this
safety wise. I'm not that way. Resource wise, I am not seen as an equal. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And maybe politically, I don't know, but I don't know what you're going. But no, a woman, I definitely have some of that, and it's not that I first understand it. I've always
you're becoming defensive rather than listening.
But my point is that it's different now, and you're not listening to that as being different. You seem very resistant to the fact that the entire foundation of the government is now been like, whoa, and it's not the same government it used to be. And as long as you're going to be on that side, I am going to be a little bit defensive, because I feel like we're not arguing about, we're on two different substrates. My substrate is not your substrate.
No, you're right. It's not, because from my experience and what I've seen in this world, for people who are Black, Spanish, Jewish, Arab,
Right, this isn't about race, though. This is
trans,
literally about politics.
it's you are finally seeing
I've always seen
what
it.
it's been like for
I've seen it.
everybody else.
I've seen it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's a different, we've kicked it up a notch. Now there's a different situation. Now we are literally,
Because it directly affects you
no,
now.
no, because I see the signs of authoritarianism that I did not see before. And I'm seeing signs. Let me read you here we go. Greetings, Chilean here. I grew up in a dictatorship. In 1973, Nixon got away with what he wanted, a military coup, unseated a legitimately elected socialist democratic president. Before that, of course, there had been lots of arguments, anger, violence, academic problems the U.S. also had a hand in. So when the coup happened, many people were relieved, expecting that after some time for the dust to settle, we would continue to be one of the most stable and democratic countries in America. The dictatorship lasted 16 years. Nobody expected there would be strict censorship, exile, concentration camps, torture, summary executions, disappearances, and an amnesty law to pardon everybody involved in human rights violations. So, as most Americans and the hosts of this show, it was a Jon Stewart and Heather Cox Richardson show, I feel you are being naive. If you expect anyone to tell you everything will be well, forget it. The best you can do is expect the worst case scenario and prepare for it. If very lucky, and quite surprisingly, the U.S. does not become a fascist regime for the next decade at least, you won't regret the paranoia. If things go as history teaches, you will be glad you prepared. Financially, having an escape route, hiding your books and liberal ideas, not trusting anyone, etc. The midterms are irrelevant. Likely they won't happen, or they will be rigged, or Trumpism will win again. We had very few elections in Chile. The results are still dubious. The last one, the only one with official electoral registries and international observers and parallel counting, that was the one that defeated the dictator. But it took 16 years and a lot of economic misery to achieve that. Brace for a very long and bumpy ride.
And they're not wrong.
That's where I'm coming from.
And they're not wrong.
That's where I'm coming from. So again, I don't see you
But you're
telling
not
the
coming from that.
Chilean that she suddenly understands the world.
You're
You know what I
being
mean?
defeatist. You're being defeatist.
I'm being escapist, and I'm being practical.
Okay, you're being escapist
I'm not defeating.
defeated.
I'm running. That's different. That's different. Defeating is just laying down. I'm screaming and running.
The difference is that there people have been experiencing these sorts of things for a long time.
Certainly. Yeah, I've been reading about it for a long time.
I'm talking here, right now.
Of course.
In America.
Of course, Zinn. I've read the books. Starting with the indigenous peoples. Yes, I'm very well aware of all of the shit that has gone down, and I have even faced some of that shit myself as a woman, as a person in a very diminished economic strata, as a family that was on welfare or your social services for a time. I am aware of all the different ways that the government fucks with people. This is. I'm not sure where this is going, but please, now that we're on that front.
The mass incarceration thing, same thing, different people. Yes. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the same things, but for different people. Before it was just Black and brown people, and Jews didn't,
and women,
and
always women.
To a less, mass incarceration is for women. It impacts them differently.
Yeah, women who can fight back onto their abusers, they go to jail. More than the abusers who abuse the women go to jail. There's that.
But that's still on a much smaller number. Like
not percentage wise, the women that strike back at their spouse, the men who hit their spouses versus the women who go to jail for hurting their spouses, the women.
You're trying to parse it down into
right. Well, all this conversation is about what? What are we actually talking about? You're talking about, I'm just talking about I'm fed up with the country, and you're trying to say what? That I shouldn't feel fed up because I'm just new to this idea of discrimination?
No, you can be fed up all you want, but it doesn't mean that
What?
it's a luxury to quit on this country.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it
Not a
is.
luxury. No,
It
no, it isn't.
is. It is
I
because
disagree.
I can't afford to move.
Disagree. Disagree.
The
Disagree is a
people
lot.
in my neighborhood can't afford to move.
So it can be a luxury, but it's not. But it's not just because it doesn't just because it's a luxury doesn't mean it's not beneficial to the networks that need to be created. It's not a luxury. It could be a strategic move for someone to do so, to say, hey, it's better to cut bait now and restart a network so that I'm ready when XYZ happens. So everybody has their own limit to whatever they can do, but it's not a luxury. This is not a luxury. My luxury, I'm white, I'm a woman, I'm old, I'm past my biological shit that I gotta worry about that stuff. I can totally just
I have no idea what you're talking about on that front.
I'm saying I'm not going to have a baby. So I'm just
Oh,
like, I'm not the target audience. If they say you can't go to the bathroom, like I'm cisgender, like all that shit, I understand. I can sit on my privilege, but instead of sitting on my privilege, I'm going to do everything I can to get the fuck out of here because I don't want to be a part of that privilege. I don't want to be a part of this mean society. I don't want to. In fact, I want to build my own network and
but
hope
that in
help
itself is
other
a
people
privilege.
see that there's other shit out there, that you don't have to bend over for these assholes that have no interest in our lives or anything other than cramming it up our ass and taking our money. That's how I feel.
But what I don't think I don't think you see that in itself is a privilege.
Who isn't privileged? You're privileged. You've got a house. You're privileged. You've got
You're right. I do have a
like
house, but I can't afford to
who
move.
cares? Why
I
does
can't afford to run away.
privilege mean it negates the privilege alone makes it bad? Anything that's privileged is bad. You can't do it. Just
No, but I think it's something that you should recognize, and
I'm
that
recognizing
there
it.
are going to be people
Yeah,
that we're
maybe I can help
talking
them.
to right now.
Right. Well, maybe I can help them then.
Help them do what?
Get out of
How
the
are you
country.
going to put food on their table?
Maybe I
How
can
are
help them
you
get out
going
of
to
the country.
get them out of
Why
jail?
do I have to be focused on a certain group of people? Maybe instead of focusing on the people that need to eat, that could be somebody else's job. Maybe I'll focus on the people who are really in danger and need to get out, and that are under attack, or that feel like totally pressured and scared and don't have an avenue. And maybe I'll be a safe haven for them and teach them and show them and help them get out.
You
Like,
know,
I don't
the
understand why that
irony
has to be something to look
is
down your
I've
nose on.
wanted
Why
to
is that deserting people?
I've wanted to run away and escape for the past fucking
Okay.
year, and like you guys were like, nah, it's fine, it's fine. It's not that bad.
What?
You guys have
We've
said over the
literally told you it's not that bad.
when I've talked about, how bad anti-Semitism is in this
Oh,
country.
well, yeah, because we don't want to talk about anti-Semitism in this fake news show all the time. That's not a common like that. That's a its own very fraught and very complicated. Like I can talk about history all over. I can talk about poverty. I can talk about all kinds of things. I don't really know a whole lot about the anti-Semitism issues as they've become pressing in today's news. So I feel like I'm very out of my element, and then it turns into well, you just sort of talking to us, and we just kind of, doing our best to like research and look things up, but that is not like my comfort zone. So my comfort zone, and I think yours might be as well, is more talking about things as we're all experiencing on the local level, not necessarily just like I don't want to just talk about women's stuff. I don't want to just talk about women's health. I don't just, you know what I mean? Like I kind of was hoping we could have more of I feel more comfortable having a more broad conversation. So if we haven't hit the nail on the head with these conversations in anti-Semitism, I don't think that necessarily means like we were telling you they didn't exist. I think we were just telling you we were not the best echo chambers for that because we don't have a whole lot to add to the conversation.
Here's the thing, though, is Jews were always the canary in the coal mine. And because I wanted to talk about that, like, in a way, I was trying to prepare you and other people for what was coming.
Okay. And how did we do?
Because you should have been paying attention to me in
Okay.
the beginning.
So you're blaming the person receiving your message, not that your message
For
is
not
coming out.
listening to
Maybe
it.
your message, maybe your person with the message may try different ways to get through to somebody. When they realize their message isn't landing, they find another way to do it. But if you want to blame me for not getting the message, I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't know what blame helps here.
I'm not
All I was
blaming it.
trying to
I'm
say,
not blaming anyone. I'm saying that you need to start listening.
I need to
Like,
start. I think I listen as best I can and I do my best. So
and I'm not saying that you're
I
not.
don't feel that I don't feel like I haven't been seeing
You are
signs.
very defensive today.
I think or maybe you're very aggressive today, but I don't think I've missed. I'm feeling that you're saying that I've missed signs. Like I've never said I don't know if I've ever been like, how would you feel if I said to you, you need to listen more? Like that's a
I
little bit
would.
of like,
What?
a
I
little
would.
bit of an out there comment to make. So my point, I guess, is like, I feel like you're telling me I haven't seen this coming, and I don't feel that's the case. Do you feel like I haven't seen this coming?
Oh, I can tell you that she's been concerned, to say the least,
Yeah,
about
since
things falling apart, about Democrats particularly just following norms
yeah,
instead of looking for ways to be bold defenders of the system.
yeah, for years and years since Trump,
The
right?
neo-libs, and now we're into this, and apparently we still are doormats and can't bring ourselves to violate the norms.
Paper, like we put how much money
And I agree with that. I
to try
totally
to
agree
tell
with that.
people and write to
I'm
people.
not saying that I'm not, you're being very defensive and
I think you guys are seeing it from two different ways. I think Corey, you want to stand and fight it, and nothing wrong with that. And I think Carolyn is seeing it from a different angle of like, hey, maybe there is a way to, even by example, show people that it's not necessarily punch something directly in the face, work around it, try to find some other way to do it. That's what I'm hearing. And I don't think either one is less valid than the other. And I totally understand the whole, one thing seems like you're just cutting and running and abandoning. But again, for my perspective, I was like, wait a minute. There are, like, to borrow.
Steve's the reasonable one.
I'm trying to find middle ground somewhere. Yeah.
Steve's always the reasonable one.
I tried to. And you know, like Kamala, to borrow from Kamala, it doesn't have to be this way. And maybe by going to some other place and finding a community and showing people, yes, there are other ways to do this. And I agree with you. There are people who don't have the money, the means to go and just leave. But there are people that, you know, might want to have, I don't know, control over their reproductive rights, and aren't going to see that for another 15, 20 years, maybe. So maybe, you know, by leading by example and saying, hey, you can go to another country that does have healthcare and does have respect for human rights. I don't see that's yes, there is privilege involved in it, but I don't see that is not an option because privilege is involved.
No, and I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But I'm merely suggesting that it needs to be recognized that there's privileged.
That there is part of it, certainly. Yes. I think that
what good does recognizing the privilege do?
Because you can act, you know, with that in mind.
How would that name a situation where acknowledging that you have privilege in this instance, it helps something?
Okay, acknowledging that that you from the reproductive rights perspective, acknowledging that you have the option to leave and go somewhere else. You can also be funding or otherwise supporting people that are have to stay here, or they feel obligated to stay here for some reason, because women who don't have that privilege still need that reproductive help.
Right. And if you don't have money, so how would you be supporting it?
Okay, well then you have to pay. I mean, you're asking me to solve every problem, and
Right.
I
Well, I'm just
can't.
suggesting that, privilege isn't always money, right? So
Say that again.
privilege isn't always money, right? It can be other things.
Well, sometimes it's social capital, you
Right.
know.
Sure.
You guys have a level of social capital that I don't have, and probably never will. Um, and that's cool, but it's how you spend that social capital as well.
Right. But I mean, I'm not entirely sure how it helps when people say, I'm working to do this, to point out to them that they're privileged to do so. To me, that feels like it's like if someone goes, I just had a great meal, and then going like, oh, I didn't have anything. Like it almost sounds like I'm not sure it necessarily creates like if a person is kind-hearted anyway, that they are moving, they might not put words to the word privilege, but they do feel like they're not abandoning their neighbors. You know what I mean? Like a good person doesn't feel like they're running from their neighbors. A good person when they're going for safety or survival, a good person keeps their neighbors in mind. So there's something about the calling mind to privilege that feels to me like um like it's like a
Well, let's not be honest. Privilege is not exactly
feels coded or
a
something.
word that anyone wants to be called these days.
Right,
Privilege,
Of course,
privilege
of course.
is a bit of a
coded or
not. It's like
something.
an epithet.
Yeah.
Almost.
But it's not. That's not how I'm using it.
Right,
That's
but it
not how
comes
I'm using
across
it.
that way. Like, and again, like even if it's not how you're using it, it's like what are you adding? But he's saying like, oh, you're very privileged to be able to do that. Like, what are you actually adding to that? Are you trying to make someone feel guilty or trying to change their behavior? Are you trying to create
I'm trying to make you think like that. I mean, that's what all I ever try to do
right? What it
is
almost
try to
says,
make you
it's
think.
almost like
Here's a different example that applies, that can be applied on this personal level here. Um, so, as a Jew, like my place in the world is deeply threatened, deeply right now. We are on the verge in many places in this world, including in the West, where Jewish neighborhoods are not safe places for Jews, which is like just like on the other side of like the Kristallnacht, side of things. When that inevitably gets worse because people aren't doing anything about it, because we can't do anything about it, there aren't enough of us. You got everybody else like in the world like makes up far. There's just not enough of us. You know, so you guys decide to leave. I don't have a lot of friends in this town because frankly, I don't like a lot of people. You know, but now I have one less person to hide me now that I'm giving away who I would
oh
have
no,
went
no, but I know what you
to,
mean.
who I would have went to
I see the
hide.
network. Right, right,
Sorry, guys.
right. Speaking of
Now
networks,
both of us are screwed.
speaking of networks, right, right, networks.
But
Yeah,
I now I don't have a place for somebody to hide me if I need to be hidden.
right, right.
That's why we've been asking people for this past year, would you hide me?
You've been
Like
asking
that was
people?
a literal question that we were serious about. We are serious when we ask that question.
Has there been a movement where Jews have been asking
That's
that?
just been on a personal level, like that I've talked, like people that I've talked to, individual, they've asked their friends, to see who would hide them.
That's terrifying.
Wow.
Because that is a thing that we have to think about.
You're right. You're right.
And it doesn't matter where we live.
Yep.
Whether it's Canada, South America, Mexico,
Right.
Europe. Yeah,
Right.
well, it does kind of matter. It doesn't really matter in Israel itself, but
Yeah.
still,
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
I've avoided asking that because frankly, I didn't trust anybody except for kind of you guys to do
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I don't
Scary.
trust Danny's family for it. No offense to them.
Right.
Maybe her dad.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's hard, man.
You know, my folks live in Florida. Like that's fucking too far. You know, some of my immediate neighbors, maybe for a very, very short period,
Right.
like of like a night or two, but that's about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
but
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
Well, it's even scarier now because now there's no guardrails. Now he's talking about putting the military in the streets. It's terrifying. Aren't you terrified?
Yes, it is. I have been. I've been terrified for a fucking year.
This is fucked up, man. It's so fucked. Well, maybe we'll be able to get you out. We'll tag you over there. We'll start a network. Don't knock until you try it.
We're all good at Buenos Aires.
Well, I'll go whatever. I'll saw my leg off. I'll saw another leg off. I don't care. I'm not gonna let that happen.
I'm sure Jerry would love it.
Oh no.
God.
Yeah, I'm sure their little 2-bedroom flat would love it too.
Shit.
Yeah, there's nobody on Snake Island off of the coast. We know
That's
that.
Brazil. But
Brazil,
yeah.
yes.
Snake Island. We'll get it there. There's just
One little
venomous
problem with
snakes.
Snake Island.
a little spicy venom. We'll be fine.
But that's my point.
Horrible.
It's like at the end of the day, like
Yeah, I'm terrified for everybody. I'm terrified for everybody, Corey. Literally. I wake up at like 4 a.m. every
I
morning.
think we're two different sides of the fight or
I
flight,
think we are.
Yeah.
thing here.
And you're like hunkering in, and I'm like, ah.
I'm preparing to lash out if
That's
necessary.
what I'm saying. You're like got your bunker going, and I'm like freaking out. So yeah, maybe we think we are. We're both in survival mode in the worst possible way, but whatever. We'll figure this out.
Yeah.
I just can't believe. I can't believe it. It just sorry. Greg knows. You know, Greg.
But yeah, there's another side of this too, and it's being thankful for the little things that you have. We're actually this Thanksgiving or whatever you want, Indigenous Peoples Day or whatever. What a joke!
Whatever,
Come on.
yeah.
We're actually going to finally bust open our champagne bottle for this.
That's wonderful.
Nice.
That's really cool.
And we're gonna, thank God for, all of the little things that we've had
Mhm.
over the past several years and that we still have, and we're gonna focus on that,
That's
Mhm.
nice. Nice.
to lift our spirits
That's
Yeah.
in order to be able to, fight back effectively.
Well, that's the other thing that I thought was the thing that could be done immediately is being kinder to people. I think that there's instead of
No,
all,
I still hate them all.
I'm like,
but I mean like all the finger pointing and all that shit from the Democrats and the circular firing squads and all the bullshit in the news about how you could have done this and you could have done that. I just think that that's abusing. Like people are feeling down right now, shocked, stunned, whatever you want to call it, frightened. To be like, oh well, you should have done this, or we should have done that. All the finger
we were
pointing.
too progressive.
It's not necessary.
We were too.
It's just not fucking necessary. It's just not
it was a
necessary.
woman. It was a
Yeah.
woman of color.
Like being less judge. Let's be less judgy, I guess, is my point. Let's be less
Well,
judgy.
we should always be less judgy. I think that's been like one of our major problems from the get-go.
Mhm.
Is this sense of ideological puritism
Yep.
that has infested the Democratic Party for decades.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Well, here's a question.
The whole cancel culture,
Yeah.
movement, as soon as somebody says something out of pocket,
right?
canceling them rather than,
Talking.
educating or talking to them or the whole, progressive, extreme
Yeah,
progressive,
yeah.
like, anti-Zionism
Right,
things.
and you can't even say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not even.
Well,
Just like,
here's one example of that pissed me off. Normally, I like Jon Stewart and I like a lot of his ideas, but he was really bothered when Liz Cheney and Kamala got together. And I'm like, I know Liz Cheney's not a fucking poster child. I know Dick Cheney certainly is like the fucking as Darth Vader basically. But if those people are
That
willing to
dude is
come on
Lucifer
board,
himself.
right?
right?
I mean, if those guys are willing to come on board with the team,
Welcome.
hey, every swinging dick is welcome for fuck's sake. I mean, that's
Right?
like whoever's with us is with us. Let's just go. I don't want a purity test. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, talking it out. People just talking it out. Jesus Christ.
But that's been like a huge problem within progressive circles for a very long time. It is people don't want to talk out their differences.
Nope.
Even where, they may agree on like 99% of
Yep.
things and they disagree on one little thing.
They'll fixate on the one little thing, won't they?
Yes.
They fixate.
Yeah.
And there's memes and they're mean memes. And I hate when people are like, nope. Like the nope is like, I want to just beat the shit out of people. And nope, no, I'm sorry. No, it has to be this way. It has to be. Oh, just Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's a lack of coping skills and there's a lack of
that is
active listening and engagement. Because again, I know the way I grew up, speaking of privilege, if you didn't want to talk about it, you didn't have to talk about it. And being a white guy eventually was going to come around to your side of the table.
Right.
Let's be honest. White people were not being educated on how to
You can just say
engage with people that we don't want to talk to. It's like, oh no, I'm just going to ignore it and then it'll go away. I mean,
I'll be right here at my
really
table.
That's the thinking behind it.
Yep. So the white people are just like,
Yes.
nope, don't have to think about it. You'll eventually have to come and deal with me the way I am. So
Yep.
I don't even see you. Ha ha ha.
Yep.
And that's very problematic.
It's horrible. It's so insulting to everybody.
Again, I think in schools, man, you should have kids critical thinking skills and also the ability to communicate. Here's how you talk to people when you have a problem.
Switching schools, you should.
If you
switch
feel
schools.
badly about something, here's how you advocate for your position.
Right.
Here's how you discuss things.
Yeah.
You
The
have
sad thing is I feel like I had that in high school
We had more of it when we were younger.
in my first few years of college.
We did. We had
Like
that.
I had that. I like literally had to take a communication class.
Right.
Like how to speak to people, how to listen.
There was civics. I had social studies and civics. They put the voting booth, a sample voting booth.
I remember that
in our high school. And
Yeah.
we all got to play with it and get comfortable with it. And that was part of social studies, was the civics part. And I remember my mom being like, civics used to be a whole subject when I went to school, but it was still a part of.
Still was.
We still had it.
But
now they don't even have that. Apparently, they don't even bother with that. So yeah, we had that. We had logic.
Yeah.
We had logic. That was part of like English.
It was one of the few math classes I was actually good at.
It was probably part of math.
That I didn't have to cheat on.
Yeah, right? Like there were things we actually had to do. So I mean, I don't know. And like I don't know, like it's just so messed up. And it was made this way. Like it's all by design. That's just how it's
Absolutely. There was a book written in the 80s or 90s, maybe, called The Dumbing Down of America.
Oh, right.
It's a great little booklet.
Yeah. And the movie, what is that? Idiocracy. It's come true. We are living in idiocracy.
We are indeed.
Yeah.
But a lot of that I've been saying over like the past few years. We got to start listening to each other.
It doesn't take, most of us saw it. It doesn't take a genius. Like most community issues, doesn't take a genius to see where the money should go. But it takes apparently a genius to do it. Like McMichael Park in our area, they put up a little message board recently. It's just this little wooden thing. It was like $22,000 at the end of it by the time they were done putting it up, because that's how the materials and the admin and the process and the talking and I mean, we're not in a society that's built for conversation. If putting up a bulletin board and it costs $22,000, I mean,
it really is.
What the hell? What the actual fuck? Like
I could have done it. I could have done it for like 100 or so.
Yeah.
I'd happily done it for half that. I could have done it for like a fraction of that, but I mean, I'd love to get paid for half of it, but Jesus Christ. Right?
Absolutely.
It's just we're not built for this. So again, yeah. Yeah.
Saw that.
All right, did he try to get you?
He tried to get me.
And Cat is getting vicious. All right, well, this was a very fun and spicy conversation, Corey. Thank you. This was exciting. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too.
Yes.
And I hope you know I totally respect all your opinions and I totally agree with Steve. I feel like that's why I can argue with you because I actually feel we're on the same side anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's like your brother or something. I'll yell about this shit, but it's the same side.
Mhm.
So we're all in the boat together. So it's all
We
good.
are.
Yeah.
It's all good. So this is fun. If we're still here next week, kidding. Just kidding. I hope you enjoy your champagne.
Yes. Yes.
And
Hopefully. Are
and
we coming back next weekend? Or are we taking next weekend off?
I don't know. What?
did you
Why?
want this
For
next weekend
Thanksgiving or
off? Are you
something,
going
or-
somewhere?
No. Hell no, I can't afford to go
I don't think we
anywhere.
didn't go anywhere. I don't know. I don't think we've ever taken off except for by
Okay.
accident when I was sick,
Okay.
stupid or something. Yeah, no, we're on go. We'll do it.
Yeah.
If you ever get a link and you don't feel like doing it, just shoot it back and go no.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right, man.
It's
All right.
fine.
Have a good one,
Have
guys.
a great
Take care, man.
Sunday. Bye.